Hello, my gorgeous group ones. Welcome to your reading. Today's reading is going to be about how do you make people feel, okay? That's just the way you make me feel, okay? That song is The Way You Make Me Feel by... How should her name disappear like that? That's crazy. Janelle Monáe, thank you. Because what is going on here? So today we're going to be getting into how do you make people feel, okay? I'm excited to see what comes through, just in general, but of course for my group ones. Let's get into it. How do my group ones make people feel? We have 3 of Pentacles. Like they're welcomed. Like they're a part of something greater. I kind of feel like you may be the person who brings together the outcasts, or you try to make people feel as comfortable as you can because you may know what it's like to be the outcast. That's kind of how I approach life in a way, which is why it's coming up, because I tend to gravitate towards the people who feel like alone in the room and try to make them happy or befriend them in some kind of way or make them feel like, welcome. So they're not just sitting there by themselves, right? I don't like people feeling alone, because when you know what it's like to feel alone, you don't really want that for other people. Or when you know what it's like to feel nervous or like you don't fit in sometimes, it's just like you never want anyone to feel that way. So you're like, I purposely bring myself out of my shell to go talk to people and make them feel like more included, right? So that could be something. Oh my, that was very crazy. The way that just flew out. We have 2 of Pentacles. This is kind of giving me like a seesaw. Sometimes they feel up with you. Sometimes they feel down with you. So maybe you can act as like an upper or a downer for people, and I believe the uppers are something that's used for people who have like depression or bipolar disorder. When they're going through like maybe a depressive episode, they would take an upper and kind of bring hope to boost their mood. And then I guess people who are always too like hyperactive, so people who have like ADHD, or I guess I'm not 100% sure what downers are used for, but I'm just assuming. People who like have too much energy will use downers to kind of like mellow out, right? So, or weed, whatever people use out here in these streets, I don't really know. People use a bunch of different stuff. I know people who have anxiety like to use that, green plant, right? Trees, to make themselves feel more calm or more like resolute, okay, or more comfortable, So you could be that drug people need to like bring up their energy or bring down their energy. So like I said, you act as like an upper or a downer for, certain people. And so far we only have Pentacles, which is like a very grounding, stable, tangible energy. So you're like someone who's always there, that people can like touch and feel. Like I'm getting like I'm hearing and seeing a scratching post. So you know how cats like have those scratching toys, or like sometimes they really just have a post, that they kind of scratch. I think that's kind of like their soothing method, like, or just something that kind of helps soothe their claws or something. I don't know. Like, do cats have teething of the claws? So when they're babies, they start like scratching everything because it kind of like soothes if there's any aches. I don't really know. I'm making up stuff at this point, but it's fine because it kind of... Oh my gosh, because it ties into what I'm trying to say. So it's essentially you're like the emotional support thing for people. The rod that keeps the electricity like grounded, right? The scratching post that a cat could scratch and scratch and scratch, and it will last for a long time before it would need to be like replaced, okay? Because it's like kind of it's not, the word is not stable, but it's like sturdy. Yeah, there it is. I'm hearing the thing that my grandma always says whenever she's feeling like people are ganging up on her. She's like, my shoulders are broad, I could take it, in her little Trini accent. I'm like, ma'am, please, you're the problem, ma'am. Okay, you can't play victim now that you're harassing, because she will harass you and bother you and bother you until you just like, you can't take it anymore. And I'm just like, please just stop. And oh, my shoulders are broad, I could take it, it's fine. I'm like, how are you the victim now when you were harassing me? It's crazy to me, right? But anywho, that's her little phrase she uses when she feels like the world or people in particular are ganging up on her. Gosh. So you can have like broad shoulders, and you're the kind of person who can take and hold a lot of space for people's emotions or problems or issues, you know? So you make people feel safe because you are the pentacle, right? And you could also make people feel valuable because pentacles are also like, you know, valuable, right? They hold monetary value. Okay, so that's how you make people feel. And then we have Five of Pentacles, and that's exactly the kind of energy I've been picking up on, which is like you make people who feel lonely or left out in the cold, you know, safe. But in this instance, with the Five of Pentacles coming out, it could mean that you make people feel isolated, which is very freaking funny because look at how the cards came out. So we have the first card that means you make people feel included. It's like teamwork makes dream work. You like, it's kind of like you give people some kind of like efficiency, or you show them how to properly do something, use their emotions, dispose of any extra leftover energy. Is kind of giving the therapist, right? And the therapist gives you practical things you can do to help you overcome or stabilize your emotions in everyday life. And that's what you act as. You're the person they go to when they're feeling like a little erratic or sad, right? Or going through an episode, or just feeling like really lonely and isolated. With this Five of Pentacles energy, you kind of give them a place, or you give them a place to put their energy, which is you. So you could be like a transmuter of energies, where people give you their like bad energies and you kind of make them high, you know, or people give you their good energies, you kind of make them bad. I don't know how this is trying to come through, because we have feeling like a part of something, Three of Pentacles. Then we have the Two of Pentacles, which represents up and down and represents juggling between two things, right? And then we have the Five of Pentacles, which is the opposite, I would say, of the Three of Pentacles, and it's feeling lonely and isolated. So it's like, are you taking the energy and transmuting it into something good or bad? Like maybe you have the energy, or you have the capacity to make people feel both lonely and not lonely at the same time. I don't know. That's kind of how the cards are coming through, because the Two of Pentacles is kind of acting like the middleman in a way, where it's like this is the energy and it could either go this way or that way. It could either go up or down, right? Or this could be you. The Two of Pentacles is balancing those two energies. So you're the person who's balancing out people's energies around them, right? You're balancing the people. Oh, you know, this is kind of giving me, you give people a place to go to not feel so lonely, right? So it's kind of like you're taking this person from outside in the cold, transmuting the energy and giving them a place to go. So it's basically you created your own personal like group or club for outsiders or outcasts. And now instead of them having to be alone by themselves, they can now be alone in a group of people. It's kind of giving me the friend who I wouldn't say they're not the best with emotions, but they're not the kind of friend who's gonna be like crying their eyes out when, or wanting someone to like cry their eyes out whenever something's wrong with them. They just would prefer to be around someone, right? So you're the friend who's just there, you know? You're not crying, you're not going and like blowing things up or going on a revenge spree. You're the friend that's just there quietly, like a sentinel that's just there protecting or making people feel safe, essentially. Okay, that's what is coming through with these three cards so far. So you're transmitting the energy of people feeling alone, or you are giving them a place to not feel so alone, whether it's them physically coming to a group you've assembled, or them just being with you and they're not alone anymore, that kind of thing. Okay, so let me not try to over explain it, but that's the vibe that I was going. You're giving someone a place to go, so you could like have a club, or you could have an event or an activity where people who are single all come together, people who are sad all come together, people who have a specific kind of behavioral disorder or mental issue or health issue, they all come and they feel safe and supported by each other. It's kind of giving me the support group in The Fault in Our Stars, where they made Hazel Grace go when she like had cancer. She would go to like the support group every week, and that's where she met Augustus Waters, right? Essentially. So it's like they would go there to be with other kids who had cancer so they would not feel so alone. Because I'm sure if you're someone who has a specific kind of ailment, it can still feel isolating being around people who are not purposely trying to make you feel like outcasts, but you're never going to be like them. So you would feel more comfortable around people who also have anxiety and depression, who also have autism, who also have, a physical disease, who also have cancer, who also have this, who's also single, right? That kind of thing. You would feel more comfortable amongst people who you relate to more. And I do feel like you're the person who brings that about, or you allow them or you allow them to like feel other emotions. You're not telling them it's not the end of the world, it's okay, it's fine. You're like, okay, you want to scream out loud into the ether, I'm going to be here standing here silently while you do that. No judgment, just do what you need to do, right? Or you're the person who's organizing the group that meets up every week to commiserate. I'm hearing in the comments how funny. So maybe you have like a internet platform where people come and feel safe and feel like vulnerable enough or safe enough to be vulnerable in the comments and like tell their stories and stuff like that. And you would post like every week, and that's when all the outcasts come together and say, hey, you helped me in this kind of way, that kind of thing. Okay, so yeah, you make people feel like they have a safe place to go. We also have the Emperor. That's you being the leader and taking the initiative. So I kind of feel like when people don't know what to do or where to go, they know at least you will have a plan, okay? You're giving man or woman with a plan, okay? And I'm also hearing, I'm hearing the nanny theme song for the show. I'm trying to, she was working in the Flushing, Queens. That song is coming through, but it's also like mixing together with another song, okay? But they're giving the same vibe, just like different fonts. What is it called? It's like he was a famous trumpet boy from old Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play. He was a top man at his craft. So you could be someone really good at what they do. And then his number came off and he was gone with the draft. He's in the army now, blowing reveille. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B. That song is coming through, but I'm also hearing it like I'm hearing the nanny theme song in that as well. So I don't know if you're someone who's very like eccentric, right? Yourself, like I was saying in the beginning, and you kind of give other people or other eccentric people a place to be themselves without judgment, okay? Because the daddy kind of essentially came into the household. Fran, okay, I should call her by her name, Fran, literally came into the household and made it seem more lively, She brought her personality, she brought her style, she brought, and then she like, kind of like healed the home in a way, brought all the kids together, made the husband or the shouldn't say husband. He ends up being her husband, I believe, I think. But she basically brings all the kids together. She makes them feel safe in their home once again. She makes the house a home. It's not just somewhere they come to rest their head. Now it's somewhere they love to come. You know what I mean? So maybe like how do you call it? Like a foster mom or an alternative mom, adoptive mom, something like that, where people just feel like you take them under your wing and now they're like, okay, I can stay here forever. Okay. That's the kind of energy coming through for you guys. But the Emperor is definitely the vibe of like someone who takes care of everyone else, who takes on all the responsibility, who takes on all the weight on their shoulders and make sure everything gets done. Like all the responsibilities are, I'm hearing the balls in your court. That's funny. So you always like to like initiate things and make sure people are safe and like get things done essentially. So people know when they're with you, they don't have to worry about nothing because you're doing it all. And that could be why people are coming through as like the lost souls, the kids without parents or who lost their parents, who now need a substitute parent or a stand-in mother or father, and you're kind of stepping in and becoming that kind of person for those people, okay? And I'm also kind of getting, that's quite the opposite actually. Where on Full House, they always used to be bringing up how the mother died, and it was like a womp, womp, womp thing, and there was always a sad music in the background and all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of like they made it like, how can I describe it? Not something to be sad about or something to like dwell on, you know? Did they drag it? Yes, but at the same time, he was raising 3 little girls without their mothers. That is something to like drag, but it just became like womp wompy. Instead, on the nanny, I don't really remember what happened to their mother, but she came in and breathed new life into the household. Like I said, she brought them all together in some kind of way, okay? Made them a family again. And that's kind of energy coming through. You're kind of giving mama, papa, you go places and make things like a family affair. Or you bring like a depth to things that wouldn't have been there if you hadn't been there, right? That's the kind of energy coming through for you guys, okay? I'm hearing when they go low, you go high. Or when they go low, you go even lower. I don't know. I'm hearing when you go low, no, when they go low, you take it to hell. That's funny. Okay, so yeah, we have the Emperor, and that's like a very Aries kind of energy, right? So bold, big, showy, can't be tamed, can't be hidden, you know? That's kind of vibe that that surrounds you, I should say. And that's how you kind of make people feel as well, like they're bold, they can take on the world, they could do anything they want. That kind of thing is coming through. Now I'm going to get some cards from this deck here and see what else comes through. Like they can do anything, is what I just heard. Here we have 𝐓𝐡𝐮𝐬𝐢𝐥. Start fresh. I haven't gotten this one yet, but it looks so pretty, like the sea. So maybe you're a breath of fresh air. You're someone that's new, that's interesting, that people haven't really met before. And it's something that kind of makes them happy and excited to get to know you even more. So you make people excited to know more about who you are or just be around you, right? There's something like just like very fresh, like a breath of fresh air, very eccentric, very like motherly, very matronly, very maternal about you. You make people feel like they're safe, that they have a place to go, a place to rest, a place, you know? And that's kind of what I get from like foster mom. Like those are kids who don't have parents anymore. So it's up to the foster family, foster mom, foster dad, who take those kids in. It's up to them. It doesn't always happen, but it is up to them to make those kids feel safe and welcome and warm. And that's something that you guys can do. You take people under your wing and become like their pseudo mother. Anything else coming through for group 1? We have Argonite, release your emotional baggage. Yep, that's kind of what I was talking about. That's confirming what I was feeling about you, kind of like being, not the punching bag. That's crazy, Spirit, relax. You could be sometimes. You could be the punching bag for people who are having a hard time. Because I feel like when friends like are always there for you, how can I like phrase it? It doesn't like, okay, so there's certain friends who are always there for you no matter what, and then it can kind of bring about not insecurity but feeling like you're not a good enough friend for that person sometimes, you know what I mean? And that could lead to like unrest, or it could lead to someone feeling less than because you're a better friend than them. You're always there for them, but they can't even show up for you properly, like certain things like that. So you could also, like I said, breathe like or bring out very like negative or low vibrational emotions in certain people, like, oh, she's been my friend and been there thick and thin, and what do I have to offer her? Nothing but sadness. But you didn't really ask them to bring anything to the connection. It's like, I'm just here to help how I can and move on. You know, you don't have to give me anything, you know? Sometimes a smile's enough. I saw you feeling sad. I wanted to make you happy. I brought my happy behind over here. I made you happy. Now all I need is you to carry that smile with you throughout the rest of the day, kind of stuff, you know? Whenever you're sad, just think about what I said, or the joke that made you laugh. You know what I mean? is the kind of energy coming through. But yeah, there's a lot here about emotional baggage coming through. So there's that. There's also a lot of that in the world. So are we surprised? No. Group ones, please spare my group ones. How do they make people feel? Whew. This is what I thought this one was. A puff of light. Stay positive. So yeah, that's the kind of energy you bring. That's how you make people feel. That they can stay positive. That they need to release their emotional baggage. Like they can start fresh. Okay. It is definitely giving like guru, spiritual advisor, something along those lines is what's coming through here for sure. Motivational speaker, I didn't say it already. Anything else? But it's kind of like there's more to than meets the eye for sure, especially with this weird looking Argonite. It's like, why do you look like that? It looks a little scary sometimes to me anyway. Is that everything? Maybe you're also someone who's like makes people sit with themselves, because I just got really quiet and contemplative. And that's not something, if you've been on my readings before, that really happens. I be chatting fast, quick and in a hurry sometimes, to the annoyance of my own self. But I'm like really quiet, really introspective, and really thinking things through. Like, just, being very chill and mellow. That could be how you make people feel as well. You could be, like I said, that downer for when they need it, or the upper for when they need it as well. Okay. But definitely healer, high vibrational energy, Anything else? You could kind of be not misshapen. That's not the right word. But you could definitely be someone who's like a lot of, you're always moving. This here is kind of like giving me an atom. I don't know why it's giving me an atom, and how in those specific diagrams, or it could be the nucleus of an atom. I'm not 100% sure. The diagrams you were given as kids is kind of like giving that kind of vibe. So maybe you're like really smart or like scientific, or you always have an explanation for something or something like that, I don't know why I would shut off the video when I meant to pause it. But I'm also hearing Heal the World by Michael Jackson. So that's definitely how you make people feel like you're here to heal the world, their world, every bit of the world. You have a mission in that kind of way. And it's kind of reminding me of, I was watching an episode of Supernatural last night, and it was like season 2, episode 13 or 18, essentially, where I believe, what's his name? Dean gets like, or I should rephrase it, a jinn, which is like a mystical being that can give you wishes, grant you wishes, gets a hold of Dean and kind of alters his reality. So it grants supposedly your greatest wish, your heart's desire. And his heart's desire was for his mother to never have died. But that kind of like changed their whole reality. They were no longer hunters. They were no longer killing things or helping people. And that was something he saw the aftermath of in this new reality here, And I guess basically in the episode, he kept just saying how it wasn't fair that they had to sacrifice this and do that and do this and do that. You know what I mean? It's like, why couldn't we live a normal life? And basically, it's like, if we don't do it, no one else will. And by us doing this, we're literally heroes. We're saving lives by doing this. So it's something that kind of comes with its pros and cons. Mostly it's cons. Being a hero, a savior in any kind of way is very hard, But yeah, that's also coming through as well. I'm also hearing you're very like spunky, a very punchy kind of person. I'm hearing a punchy pop beat, so maybe you could like music Whenever I think of like a punchy pop beat, I always think of freaking Phineas and Ferb. I'm Lindana and I wanna have fun. The song the mom sang in the early like 80s or whatever. That's the song I always think of when I think of like a punchy pop beat. I'm like, okay, Lindana, go off. It's kind of like giving Cyndi Lauper, girl, just want to have fun, I do, but I think. And she was also like very colorful and very bubbly and very poppy when she first came out. In the show. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what this formation here is kind of giving me. There's a specific like stone or something that's giving me. It's like, it must be like a molecule or something. Because at this point, nothing else is like ringing a bell. But I'm very much like highly fixated on this one card here. So this is the release your emotional baggage card. That's definitely something you help people do. Like I said, you help them like sit in quiet contemplation and ask them why they did certain things, why did this happen. And it's just like, it's very freeing to like lay your burdens on someone else's shoulders for a little bit, you know, especially knowing that it's not going to go out anywhere. It's not going to go to someone else's, you know, ears. You're going to keep like a vault to yourself, okay? Because I'm seeing an image of like the Four of Pentacles in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, where it's someone like sitting on all their like precious gold and secrets, you know? And secrets are worth currency, you know, I would say. Anyway, I think that's all that I have for you guys. That is what makes you, no, sorry. How do people feel about you? Yes, that is the name of the reading, okay? But I hope it resonated. If it did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the tribe. We'd love to have you. If you'd ever like to book a personal reading with me, you could always get in contact with me using my email in the description box below. But I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful day whenever you're watching this reading. And as always, I will see you gorgeous people in the next one. Mwah. Bye. Hello, my gorgeous group 2s. Welcome to your reading. If you chose thumbnail image 2, welcome. Today's reading is going to be about how do you make people feel. Now, before I started your reading, I was hearing that maybe you are very funny, very punny, if you will. So you make people feel like they just want to laugh their heads off, you know? They want to laugh their worries away. It's kind of the vibe that's coming through. I'm trying to remember what made me think of that. But for whatever reason, I was like, you know, meditating, taking a break from group 1's reading before I went into your reading. And it was definitely kind of giving like, you know, very funny, you know? Okay. So how do you make people feel? Maybe you're the one laughing at the jokes or you're the one making the jokes. It doesn't really matter, right? So let's get into your reading. For my group 2, it's not the same card as group 1. Maybe some of you feel called group 1. Here we have 5 of Cups, we have 9 of Pentacles, then we have 5 of Swords. I do feel like the 5 of Swords and the 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Cups kind of give the same energy of like a lose-lose situation. I'm tired of this grandpa, like, all my life I have to fight kind of vibes, right? That's what these cards definitely give me. And then at the end of all of that, we have the 9 of Pentacles. So maybe you help people like get out of like trouble, some situations, you know what I mean? You're the friend giving the harsh truth, saying leave that man right now. There's no more, you know, ain't nothing left here. Like, please, like, spare us all the trouble and hurt. But more than that, spare yourself the trouble and hurt. So you're definitely telling it like it is. With the 5 of Swords, you don't really care what people like think about you. You say and you do whatever you like, okay? You could definitely be like a banter. You can be like a keyboard warrior, what they call it. You know, someone who's like in the comment section of videos or like posts on social media, really like, you know, telling their, I forgot I was supposed to take this off, y'all. Sorry. It was getting a little hot in here, but I'm like, I hope you could hear me better. I completely forgot that was on. Until I'm like, what is that sound in the background? Oh my gosh. Okay, anywho. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yes, this is like a keyboard warrior, someone who's always willing to like have a smart, snarky comeback kind of thing. Because she literally, let me show you what she looks like. She literally looks like she is formulating a fire response or a fire bar. You know what I mean? To obliterate someone right now. That's what she looks like. Oh, what can I say to really get them back, to get my look back? If that's the kind of energy coming through. Oh my goodness. Okay. That was kind of funny. And then we have the Five of Cups, which is spirit isn't tea isn't the end of the world. Spill tea. So maybe some of you are like from England, from London, from those places where tea is like a staple, Japan, China, and you're kind of like, there's more tea where that came from, right? So maybe like your optimistic attitude, your abundant attitude where it's like, okay, I can give away this freely. I don't have to hold on to anything. You know what I mean? That kind of energy. So maybe you're the opposite of someone who clutters, You only do much clutter. So I do feel like the pictures where I'm seeing here, she's like not really caring much or caring much about what's like around her, Miss Ma'am over here is definitely formulating a very strong worded response to someone, and there will be cuss words in it, and those I will not say. But that's the kind of vibe I get from that club. Yeah. So you're definitely kind of giving comedic relief vibes to people. It's the vibe that I keep picking up on as well. Yeah. Okay, so Five of Swords, you can't be right all of the time. Maybe you're someone who likes to be right and people like kind of get fed up. Because this does seem like someone who's been challenged in the text. Like, 5 plus 5 is not 10. You're like, oh, here we go. And you start to get to, cyber attacking people on the internet because the 5 is 10 and they're wrong. So very like, sharp with your words, definitely. And then we have the Five of Cups, which says spill tea isn't the end of the world. So we have 2 cards here about tea. I'm getting a vibe here of you like crawling yourself out of not controversy, but maybe even like how can I describe this? I'm trying to decipher what I'm picking up on right now. It's coming through quite abstractly. But I'll move on till it comes back. Five of Cups it says don't cry over spilled milk, right? There's always things, there's other options. Where there's one thing, there's plenty more. Where there's one person, there's plenty more. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of seeing like a droplet, and I'm hearing like there's many more fish in the sea. So you think that's the only droplet you're ever going to feel for the rest of your life. That's the only little drop of water you're ever going to taste. So you're kind of like, thirsty or, dried out or burned out or something. And you're kind of like saying, no, there's more where that came from, so maybe you help people reverse their scarcity mindset. And that's how you make them feel like they can do anything, kind of like on top of the world energy. Or like motivated or inspired. They kind of see what you're doing and go and do their own thing. Oh, my eye's itching. That could be important for somebody because, boy, she itching. And I'm trying to be better about just going crazy and itching her. But she's so itchy. There could be something here about your eyes, your eyelashes in particular for how you make people feel. Something about your stare. You could have nice eyelashes. It's kind of what I'm getting as well. Some people have like the very thick, long lashes. That's the kind of energy. You could have very white teeth. I just saw like a flash of toothpaste, whitening toothpaste in my mind. that could make people feel you. You have like a very genuine, nice, welcoming smile, a very bright smile. Okay, my shiny teeth and me. Chip Skylark is coming through from Philly Odd Parents. Nine of Pentacles talks about like leisure, having time to do whatever you want, having time to just lounge around and not do anything at all. So you could like a lot of play time. You like to play a lot. You could work hard, play harder. You know, work hard, play smarter. That kind of thing. Because the Nine of Pentacles very much gives me that. It's like I don't really have anything to do right now. I don't work full time. I made my money, invested it, saved it. My money is now making money while I'm on a beach somewhere, like, you know, sunbathing is the vibe that's coming through for sure. Or sitting in a hammock, essentially. Okay? So you make people feel, I'm hearing valued. That's a really nice word, actually. You make people feel valued, okay? See, you are funny in some kind of way because I keep zoning out for something. So for some reason, so that could be something you do as well. Okay, maybe you kind of get lost or stare off into space for a long time. But before I lose the plot, you laugh at things that maybe other people don't laugh at, like farts, for example. Because I was like, now I'm kind of losing it. But there was like something here about like someone farting and you like just bursting out laughing instead of like being ill. That kind of thing is what's coming through as well. So you don't like make a big deal out of the small stupid things. It's really just an expulsion of air. It's not that big a deal. That kind of thing, you know. Of course it doesn't smell the best, but what can we as humans do, honestly? So you like fart jokes, you like that, all that kind of stuff. Oh boy. And that's how you make people feel like more lighthearted and easy and like tender, you know, because they don't gotta worry about, you know, being on their like best behavior when they're around you. They can kind of like goof off and do whatever they want, right? The Five of Swords is also always my cussing out card. So there could be something here about you cursing people out, but them kind of liking it, you know? Oh my gosh. You like dark humor as well. Oh my gosh. Okay, how can I explain that? I can't. I just got like a visual of something. Um I can't even, I'm not gonna say it, but dark humor is definitely a thing for you guys. Like you crack dark jokes, that kind of thing. Cause yeah, real hardcore. Like the more quiet I go, the more I like just start seeing visuals in my mind. So maybe like very much like a more visual person. You know, maybe you're like artistic in a way where you don't really talk a lot. You use your hands and your, you know, actions to express yourself, you know? You could also be an artist who has literally made a fortune, you know, doing things. And now you can live like a very comfy, cozy kind of, you know, to yourself kind of life, right? That's the kind of energy coming through for you guys. But you make people feel like they can do anything, right? Just by watching you and seeing how you speak, how you argue, how you make, you know, dirty jokes, how you make dark jokes and dark humor, and you don't really take life that seriously, and you're very much a chill, laid back kind of person, and you make them feel those same things as well. But entertainment factor for you guys is high, okay? You are very entertaining. And I love how you kind of represent this bright sunshine behind this person who's feeling very sad, because we have the scene here of the light rays. It's not as pretty as it is when how I can see it, but there's like a bunch of light rays beaming down on her. Even though she may feel alone and like she's crying, you're always kind of there, you know? Anything else from these three cards? No. Maybe you're really smart as well, because I'm hearing what is your no, not smart, maybe commanding, attention grabbing. Because I'm hearing the song Shackles, by, I believe his name is Steven Rodriguez in my mind. And he's like, what is your decree? Something like, he says a lot of stuff in that song, honestly, but the one part that's coming through is something, something, what is your decree? I don't know what's wrong with me or what's bothering me. I'm something over you, and I can't get through because I'm in shackles. Hypnotic lover taking over my mind. And see, like, spellbinding, hypnotic kind of coming through. You're something, something makes it so hard to find. That song is coming through. So maybe you have like a little bit of like an addictive personality, because when I think of like being chained up, it's the devil card. And the devil card is being tied or shackled, literally bound in shackles, like very negative, toxic patterns. Maybe people could think like maybe being around you or with you opens them up to those things. I'm gonna try to give me clearer visuals. I'm trying to figure out what is being said in my head right now. Like, this is the most quiet I've probably ever been in a reading, and I apologize if it's like boring or anything, but I'm just seeing a lot of crazy stuff going on in my mind. I don't know how to verbalize it. And that could be something that is how people view you and how you make them feel. Like, you make me feel a bunch of crazy stuff, and I don't know how to verbalize it. I just gotta feel it, right? I can't say what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling. I just gotta feel it. You could like food. Because one of the things that keep coming through is like someone like stuffing their face with food. Very interesting reading you guys got. Okay, so you could be like a very interesting person. You could be like someone people have never kind of met before in a very I don't want to say that. I said that for group one, but in a different way. You're like a very eccentric kind of person where you say weird things, you do weird things, you live a weird life, and it's something that people haven't really seen or acknowledged or experienced before. It's fascinating in some kind of way. You are quite stylish. I'm gonna say that. Let's go on to these cards here and see what comes through. You could be a bit of a gossip as well, because I'm seeing this Five of Cups, and it says spilled tea isn't the end of the world. In our generation, when we talk about spilling the tea, we talk about gossiping and telling someone all the juicy, what's going on, okay? So that could be something coming through as well. You make people just want to be like different than who they are, is the vibe that I'm picking up on. Whatever that means. You make them want to be a different person, act a different way. Here we have terminated courts, and it says get out of your own way. Yeah. Like, you make them want to achieve something. You make them want to be great at something. So you motivate them. You make people feel motivated. Here we have black tourmaline. So this keeps coming through. It says protect your energy. We have rose quartz. Open up your heart. You could make people want to open their heart. You could teach people how to protect their energy and get out of their own way. And then we have rhodochrosite. Remember your worth. Okay, so it's giving like motivational speaker kind of energy. Come on, don't do that. It's definitely giving motivational speaker kind of energy. Remember your worth. Get out of your own way. Protect your energy. open up your heart. All great advice, honestly. And it's something that you could really give. You give great advice. This Remember Your Worth is kind of making me think of Mufasa from Lion King when he's telling Simba, remember who you are, that kind of thing. So you could definitely be that kind of friend who's always remembering or not remembering, geez, reminding their friends of their worth, right? This will forever and always, look at that little cool pattern it makes over there, but that's not what it looks like in real life. Up close, it looks like that, and this always gives me like spider webs. And spider webs can sometimes be linked to creativity as well, because the spider in some decks represents creativity, you know? You see how, you could represent a lot of your people's music is what I keep getting. So whatever you do, people want to do better. So it's like people want to compete with you for something. But you don't compete with other people. You just know your worth and continue living your life. You could also be really hot as well. So I'm getting like really, hot in here. Be really spicy. It's kind of the hot that builds up on you though, like like when you eat something spicy and the heat slowly but surely builds. That's the kind of energy I'm getting for you. It's not all at once, but it's like a slow burner, slow builder kind of energy. So maybe it takes some time for people to warm up to you, or it takes some time for you to warm up to other people. There's something here about you also being like quite active. So you make people want to get up and do stuff, right? Whether it's make more money, whether it's be more active, whether it's be more bold, whether it's be more hot and spicy, make more money, whatever it is, you make people want to get up and do stuff. That's essentially what's coming through here. You help people remember who they are, remember their worth, to always try to make more money and be a better person. And I think it was for your group that I was getting, was it your group that I was getting the Phineas and Ferb song? Was a group one? I don't remember. But you would remember if it was your group or not. That's the kind of energy I'm getting, how she kind of went after her dreams and became like a little bit of a pop star in her youth. And then went on to like get married and have kids and all that kind of stuff. I think that's about it. How you make people feel. That's all that's kind of coming through with these cards. You could be someone who's very colorful. You look good in pink. Pink, like one of your favorite colors, or like I'm hearing top contenders. Some of you could be a little bit like androgynous, like was it for your group that I was singing? It's just the way you make me feel. If I did, then that's also coming through again. It's like giving androgynous. I'm hearing pink, like the inside of you, or deep inside, or all just pink. So I kind of feel like you treat everybody the same. You don't discriminate. You don't make one person feel better than the other person. That kind of thing is coming through. If you don't like someone, it's just you don't really probably, I mean, you do show it, okay, but you treat everyone with at least some modicum of respect. Is the energy coming through here? But there's something here about pink, right? And deep inside, we're all just pink. Oh my. But yeah, androgynous look to you. That's about it. That's all that I'm getting from these cards, though. Maybe you kind of like give people a kick in the tush as well. That's tying into also you like motivating them. Because I was like, you know how sometimes like your body just jumps out of nowhere. I have to just do that really quickly. So that could be something you kickstart them, kick them into gear, that kind of thing. Like a battery, and you put a battery in their back, is what I'm hearing as well. There's also a little bit of intimidation factor here. People feel intimidated by you because we have these two very cutesy colored cards here with the pinks and, oh, looks so cute. And then we have the tourmaline or tourmalinated quartz and the tourmaline, and they're very like rocky and intense colors. So it's kind of like, make it make sense. Are we cutesy and girly, or are we hardcore? It's giving we're both. Why choose? I'm feeling called to see the part of the song Shackles. You only see her coming at night is what's coming through. So maybe you're quite stealthy. People don't know what to expect. You're unexpected as well. But I'm going to end your reading right there. I hope it resonated. If it did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the tribe. We'd love to have you. If you would ever like to book a personal reading with me, you could always get in contact with me using my email in the description box below. But I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful day whenever you're watching this reading. And as always, I will see you gorgeous people in the next one. Mwah. Bye. Hello, my gorgeous group threes. Welcome to your reading. Today's reading is going to be about how do you make people feel. So let's get straight into it. How does my group threes make people feel? Please, Spirit. We have the Four of Pentacles. Stingy. That's a very interesting card. We have Page of Cups. Whimsical. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles. I'm hearing resourceful. How do you make people feel? Can we get a story from these three cards or no? Four of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles is definitely giving resourceful. What the Four of Pentacles represents, I mean, yeah, maybe you make people more responsible. You make them feel more responsible, or that they want to be more responsible, that they want to save their money. Because the Four of Pentacles can sometimes represent holding on to your money quite tightly, not wanting to let it go, no matter how much you've saved or built up. And then we have the I mean, I guess the Seven of Pentacles is the same energy. No, using the money you've invested or saved to open up something and do something that makes you happy, that you're actually good at, is what I guess I'm getting. I'm hearing, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. So maybe you motivate them to do that. That was a very gruesome scene. Interesting. I don't know how to describe that. I was seeing someone being like, how can I describe it? Okay, so for example, there is this like, I don't know if you guys get the ad on this channel when you watch it, but there's this ad from Pocket FM, right? And the main character is always Quintalum. They always mismatch the story in so many different versions, where one of them he has no powers and one of them he does have power, what the heck ever, right? And when I'm watching someone's channel and I want to give them like I want to support the channel, I'm watching the ads, and those ads like 38 minutes long sometimes. I'm like, we ain't gonna do this right now. But basically, in the most recent one that I saw, like maybe an hour or two ago, in this one, he has vampire powers, okay? And he's able to like turn into his vampire mode, but like his eyes like turn red and he changes his form, and I'm like, oh, interesting, you know? But I was seeing like a vampire kind of character with like regular eyes, and then you would stab it and it would get like red eyes, and then you would not stab it and the eyes would go away. So I don't know what that means for you guys, honestly, right? Turning on and on some kind of monster or something instinct within you could be what's going on. Like when you feel attacked, you could be on the defense sometimes, and like when you're chill, you're more chill. I don't know. But the Four of Pentacles in general can mean someone who's like holding themselves back to the point of like exhaustion or frustration. You know what I mean? That could be what's coming through you. Maybe people feel like they're like frustrated because you hold yourself back from them and you don't really show who you are. But the thing about it, him being a vampire in this show, he wasn't supposed to tell anybody because it was seen as evil. But in other variations of the show that they would show for the same freaking storyline, is he would have to like be beaten down to figure out he had these powers. I'm just like, Quinn Talon, please stop it. YouTube with these commercials, you're confusing me. So maybe you can make people feel a little confused sometimes. Maybe you're a bit animalistic and other times you're not, and people would never really know until they kind of like poke the beast a little bit, you know? So you make people feel a little bit unsure, I guess. But I don't know what in these cards or what I was seeing is giving me that, but we're going to go with it, okay? So Four of Pentacles says, treat yourself to something nice every now and again. So maybe you're someone who's always buying nice things for yourself or people around you. That could be coming through. I'm hearing you make people feel valuable. Yeah, that's what I'm getting as well. But the Page of Cups is, there's like a romantic flair to everything that you do. And I'm hearing like you like to wear pink a lot. And it's giving like very cutesy, very girly, and everything you do is quite intentional, is what I'm hearing as well. But the pink coming through with the Page of Cups makes a lot of sense to me, because it's kind of like giving me tender, it's kind of giving me sweet. That's what we think of when we girly. That's what we think of when we think of like pink and all that kind of stuff. But the Page of Cups says, let yourself be continuously surprised by this thing called life. Yeah, that whimsy vibe to you. You make people feel like very whimsical, like anything can happen, anything is possible. They believe in magic. I'm hearing that song, do you believe in magic in a young girl's heart? So that song is coming through as well. You could actually do magic tricks. And people are always wondering, how did you do that? You know? Or you could actually have magic and people are wondering, how do you use it, you know? You make people feel, I feel like, you make people feel like very patient with you, maybe? Because Seven of Pentacles can mean that, but like, maybe, yeah, you make them feel like more tender, open, patient, more willing to do things they wouldn't normally do, right? That is kind of coming through with the Seven of Pentacles here. And it says, nurture what you have and see how it grows and grows. Absolutely. So I do believe you have like a magic touch or something like that about you. What else is coming through? Sorry for long pauses. This reading is like coming through a little weirder than I thought it was going to, if that makes any sense. You have a big heart, though. That's what's coming through very strongly already. You're very much a giver energy. So people feel like warm when they're around, if I haven't said that already. Let's see what else would come through for you guys. For my group 3s, please, Spirit. We have the Tower. So you come off as a little bit chaotic, and then this card wanted to fall. A little unpredictable. Then we have 7 of Swords. Interesting. Are your actions really as selfless as you think? That's very funny, considering you were coming off as very selfless in these cards here. Now we have the Tower followed by the 7 of Swords. And the 7 of Swords is someone who's putting on a persona to get what they want. They're trying to be sneaky. So maybe you make people feel like they have to be sneaky in order to get what they want from you. Because this is supposed to be how you make other people feel. So you make them feel whimsical and dreamy, like they have to protect themselves, like they want to work hard. And then we have the Tower and we have the 7 of Swords here. And the Tower says, get ready, things are about to get shaken up. So there's like that thrill, the frisson of excitement. And then we have, are you actually really as selfless as you think? That's the interesting part about this, because what's that have to do with anything? Unless people are pretending to be something to get close to you. I'm hearing something here about the main attraction. So maybe you make people feel like they're the main attraction at a show or something like that as well. Well, people definitely feel like shaken, not stirred when they're around you. So maybe you're like a little bit of a drinker and you like shake things up. I'm just seeing in my mind's eye how sometimes when you shake up a certain kind of drink, it turns all foamy. You know? And I'm seeing how sometimes when you have like something that's bubbling or foaming and you're drinking it, it kind of like tickles your nose. So you kind of tickle people as well. And look at how she's looking at the Tower in such wonder. Like, are you actually falling right now? Maybe you're a little too innocent is the vibe that's coming through. And people are thinking that you're doing it like for fakesies, like you're doing it to be to come off as like selfless, but you're really not, you know? Anything else? Let's get into these cards really quickly. Ooh, very talkative. Oh my, this came through for which group? We have Aragonite, release your emotional baggage. I believe this came through for group 1. So some of you guys could be here from group 1. Maybe you get people thinking, like I said, if what they're doing is really selfless or not. Because here we have this girl who's trying to kill this spider. And she may find herself asking herself, like, do we really have to kill this spider? You know? So maybe you're giving, like I said, like a little bit of a goody two-shoes vibe. And you make people feel the same way. They have to, you know, stoop down to your level, essentially. Make them want to be better people. I'm hearing someone worthy of your love. We have Lemurian quartz, practice patience. So there's definitely something here about impatience. And the gap and the agate, get back into balance. This is a really cool, like, crystal. So release your emotional baggage. You definitely do make people want to release their emotional baggage. I do feel like because you have this like very whimsical, very magical, very powerful air to you, you make people feel like, okay, I have to get on their frequency. And in order to do so, I'm going to have to release all this emotional baggage that's been weighing me down and not allowing me to believe in magic or miracles anymore, you know? It's kind of giving me how, like, in Peter Pan, everyone in the movie is kind of, like, heavy and held down. And the lighter they get, which means releasing their burdens and not worrying about all the, you know, things going wrong in the world or things that they have to worry about the next day, the lighter they can become in spirit is the lighter they become in body in order to fly to Neverland, right? And I do believe it was like, it was during one specific part of the movie that one of the siblings, I'm not sure if it was like Wendy or something, when they stopped believing in magic or fairies, they started like falling. And it's kind of like everything is in the belief that something is real. If you don't believe something is real, it's kind of giving me like one of those theories. Something just came and left. Interesting. Okay, so let me try to focus on this reading right now. With the Lemurian quartz, we have practice patience. Okay, so yeah, you help people more. You become more patient. Like that's something that they feel when they're around you. Like okay, everything's fine. Let's just let this rock. You know, it's kind of like giving force with energy. It's not that big a deal. It's cool. It's chill. And then we have the agate, get back into balance. That is something that you make people feel like they're back in balance. I think I've said that in one way or another. I don't want to keep repeating myself though. But they believe in magic and the impossible, stuff like that. Anything else coming through for group 3? Here we have 15, the devil, toxic witches. See, and wasn't I saying something here about being bound or something? Being trapped, like when things are too heavy, you kind of start getting dragged down. But then when things are lighter, you start moving more up. So maybe you help people release their baggage. And that's how you make them feel like they can finally release all the things they've been like holding in for so long. Toxic Witches says, be careful of someone who takes more than they give. And that's kind of what I was getting with the Tower and the Seven of Swords. It's kind of like are you really doing this because you want to or because you think I want you to? Are you really doing this out of the bottom of your heart? Or are you doing it to get something in return? Like, think about those things. Oh my gosh, I can't. It's giving the Tyra from that one episode of America's Next Top Model. Think about this. We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Like, girl, please. Okay. But yeah, that's the kind of thing going on here. Maybe people have like negative vibes towards you or like negative emotions or feelings. And they're kind of like, why do I feel this way? Like, I should really look at myself and figure out why. Because this person hasn't done anything wrong to me. I shouldn't be feeling like this. You'd be surprised though how many people in your life smile in your face and they really like just mad at you for no reason. Like yesterday, I was out with like one of my friends. We were going to like a comedy show and it was really cute. I'm not really a comedy girl. I don't really care for comedy shows, but I went and it was a new experience and it was fun. I'm not sure I would do it again, but I mean, if there were free tickets and I could get a seat, then fine. But there's this after the show, I was like, I have work in the morning, so I can't stay out too late. And the show already had ended at 11. And she's like, oh, okay, well, you can head home. I'm going to stay and walk around for a little bit. Okay, fine. I'm like, I don't have to go home. Okay, stomach, relax. Thank you. I'm like, I don't have to go home right now, but I can't stay out all night the way I usually would have if I didn't have work tomorrow, essentially. So we walked around for a little bit, and then when there was nothing else to do, because it was a Sunday, like, what do you expect? We kind of went home. But before that, she was kind of like, don't be mad at me that I don't have work tomorrow. And I'm like, why would I be mad at you? That's just a fact of life, because she works out of school. So she's been working for most of the summer, but I guess for these last or the next 3 weeks before school starts, the teachers have like off. They don't have to come in for summer school or nothing, so that they don't really have to go at all. I'm like, okay, cool. She's like, oh, because like once upon a time I used to like work with her, and she would have to like, she would be essentially working like a few jobs and not just one. She'd like have a lot on her plate. And she said, I used to be like mad at you or something that you only had this one job. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I used to be mad that you only have this one job. So it's fine if you feel the same way. And I'm like, but I don't though. So I kind of found that kind of weird that you were holding, not even, it doesn't have to be like animosity, but you're kind of like, you're saying you were mad that I didn't really have much going on in my life, but you had a lot going on. That's never something I felt in my life. Like, that's something I'm like, that's, it took me aback. I'm like, what do you mean that you were mad at me? Not even jealous. You were mad that I didn't have anything, or like, I don't know if she said mad or jealous. I'm not 100% sure, but they're both like pretty heavy emotions to feel towards someone who's supposed to be your friend, because they didn't really have like 2 or 3 jobs, didn't really have much going on in their life, and you did. I'm like, you should be the one that considers yourself lucky because you have, things to do. Like, if for anything, I was going crazy, stir crazy, because like me, I need to have things to do. So like, it was kind of weird to me that she said that. So it's kind of giving me the same vibe here. People are like a little mad or jealous of you for something, but they can't really explain why, or I can't explain that feeling because I don't really, gel with those feelings. I can't sit here and say I've ever felt mad that someone didn't have a job to go. Like, I don't know what it is or how to explain it. That's how like out of the left field it came. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. But I'm like, either way, I'm not mad that you don't have work tomorrow. I'm glad for you because you've been working all summer, and so have I. But at this point in my life, I'd rather the money than staying at home not doing anything. So yeah, I'm taking the going to work. I'm not mad that you have work. You don't have work tomorrow. Like, girl, that's not something I've ever thought to feel. And that's the kind of energy I'm feeling, like how people feel about you, or how do you make them feel like not inferior, but it's like there's certain things that you may have or you do that they're kind of mad or jealous they can't have or do, if that makes any kind of sense. And that's why we have this toxic witches card coming through here, because the devil represents all the negative emotions and like things that we have to experience and go through in life, like jealousy, bullying, I don't even know, like, child, the way I tell you, I don't really be dwelling, sadness, I guess, obsession, addiction, stuff like that. I don't really dwell on those heavy emotions, so it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, just listen to them like that. But they came through eventually. But I'm like, girl, ain't nobody, I'm not jealous you because you're mad at you because you don't have work tomorrow. I'm glad you don't have work tomorrow. I'm glad to have work tomorrow. Child, I ain't mad at you. Go off. So that's the kind of energy I'm coming through here. Maybe misplaced. People don't understand why they feel that way, but it's kind of coming through. And how you make them feel. A little bit catty, a little bit petty, a little bit jealous, a little bit angry for who knows why, And sometimes you can't really explain it, but it's something you have to look deep within. Why are you mad at someone else? You know what I mean? And this particular friend, we don't really have a lot in common besides a few things, right? And she's very like open and honest about like how she felt. So for example, yesterday we were at like a comedy show, like I said, and when I first got there, I got there first and I was seated first. So we went to this table and they said, you could just sit here and tell your friend what table you're going to be at. And when she comes, she can sit next to you because there's no like phone. They put your phone in a literal like container and like lock it, and you can't open it until the end of the show. And I'm like, okay, that's a little dramatic, but go off, And then she got there and like, we're both like bigger girls with hips and thighs. So it's like they gave us like this small little table, and we're kind of like, I was even thinking before she got there how we both gonna fit, right? And I was getting ready to ask the guy next to me, are you expecting somebody? Because it's about to be 2 of us here and we ain't the skinniest girls around here, But anyway, that was coming through. But when she got there, she was like making a bigger deal than I ever would about like the seat being comfortable. Like, oh, this is so uncomfortable, saying a lot. I'm like, girl, relax. Like, don't make people's job harder than it has to be. But she's the kind of person, if she's unhappy about something, everybody has to be happy about it as well until she's happy about it. And I'm like, that kind of like irks me sometimes, but it's like, you're still my friend and everything, but certain things you do irk me, and I can't hang out with you all the time, but it's just certain little things about that, So And that's the kind of thing, you have certain friends and like little things they do annoy you, or you don't like love every single thing about them, but but that's what was coming through. She's like very vocal about the things that she finds that she doesn't like. And like I said, she's gonna make everyone else miserable until she is happy. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And I'm like, some people are just like that, And it's either you accept them for who they are or you just don't, But that's not what this devil card here is kind of giving me. But yeah, she was like, as soon as she came and sat down, like, where am I supposed to fit? I'm like, girl, you're not that big. Sit right next to me. Oh, this is uncomfortable. Loud for everybody to hear. I'm like, okay, that's kind of like, I don't like that kind of stuff, Not that I'm like, what is it called? Too shy to say anything, but there's a certain time and a place. You could have, walked up and went to someone and say, I don't feel comfortable sitting here. Can we find somewhere else? But you're being loud about it and calling attention to something that's already quite obvious. We're already obviously bigger than everyone else here. Like, you don't have to make it a bigger thing than it already is. Like, it's like bringing attention to something that didn't really need. Anyway, she was uncomfortable. It's fine. She said something, they moved us somewhere else, and that's the end of the story. But it's kind of like giving things like that. Certain things that are like, you make people feel a little uncomfortable sometimes with how maybe vocal you are about something, or how, forthcoming you are, how honest you are, that kind of thing. And people are like, okay, you could have handled that a different way, but it's fine. I understand you were uncomfortable and everyone needed to know until you were uncomfortable, right? And I was like, girl, scooch over. You can fit here. Oh, but for the whole show. I'm like, girl, it's not that serious. Because I'm someone who would have just sat there and it would have been fine. But she had to make a big stink about it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And that kind of like, it didn't rub me the wrong way, but it was like, okay, it made me a little uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, don't embarrass us now, sis. Don't do that. Hey. And that's how she made me feel. And that could be how you sometimes make other people feel, right? So, story time is over. That's all that I have for y'all, though. I hope this reading resonated. If it did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, join the tribe. We'd love to have you. If you would ever like to book a personal reading with me, you could always get in contact with me using my email in the description box below. But I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful day whenever you're watching this reading. And as always, I will see gorgeous people in the next one. Mwah. Bye.